A very good morning to you watching. This is Smart Means Business here in Sport 24 TV. Will drive your business here every day from Monday to Friday, or from this time till 10 a.m. And of course, today is Wednesday, the third day of the week, the 28th. Just one day to go so that we wrap up the month of February. But anyway, how has your February been? Well, it is up to you. You have to assess yourself at the end of today or tomorrow so that you can kickstart the new month in just a few days to go on Friday, actually. Well, today my name is Masika Tsime. Yes, somewhere is here to give you anything related to business. I got you. Well, today we're going to be looking at the conservation of wildlife, particularly in Uganda, how we are making sure that we embrace and conserve the environment and the wildlife that we, have as part of our tour prospects, yeah. And of course, we know that Uganda is well endowed with wildlife, ranging from animals to wildlife. We would say is animals to the environment as well, to the trees and the forests and the like. So we want to be looking at that. And of course, we know that we have conservation centers, we have national parks, we have education centers, and of course in Uganda we have the In Uganda we have the Wildlife Conservation Center that is in Intezu, where most it is one of the tourist destinations I remember growing up going to, and looking at the different animals that we have there. Well, we have a range of the Uganda Wildlife Authority manages 10 national parks and wildlife reserves, which are 5 with 12 wildlife reserves, and of course 5 community wildlife management areas with 13 wildlife sanctuaries. So you can imagine the endowment that we have in Uganda when it comes to wildlife conservation. So when you talk about wildlife conservation, you talk about the animals and the environment that you give to them. Are you giving them the kind of environment that they have to live in? Because I believe there are some species that are going extinct. Yeah. And of course we have to, we heard of the lions, the lions that we had, there are quite a few. So we are looking for means of expanding our pride of lions. And of course we know Tsavo Park National Park is one of the national parks that is well known for an inhabitant of lions right there. And of course we believe there's a lot to learn. Well, when you talk about how to protect wildlife in Uganda, you talk about the growing native plants, conserving the environment, because you understand, you realize that some of these animals do depend on vegetation. And of course, through the fact that we have savanna vegetation, that gives us, so you have to, with the whole thing of people settling into some areas. That is why we have even cases, maybe in Kasese, cases in Windy, where animals do attack people because people are encroaching on the environment where animals live. You cannot be in such an environment. It's risk. I understand you could have existed before the animals settled in, but it doesn't give you, you're in danger actually. So give the animals the environment they're supposed to live in and settle. So wildlife is there to bridge a gap between the humans and the animals, where both ends are favored, so that we can live in a quite a lovely environment for both us humans and wildlife as well. Well, I talked about the conservation centers that we have, and of course I'll be letting you know. Now, Uganda is one of the richest countries in Africa for biodiversity conservation, ranging second richest in mammals. That includes apes, monkeys, baboons, gorillas, the mammals. Second, it's known also second for birds, and of course 7th for higher plants. And of course, this is because of the several biomass met, with their associated fauna and flora, animals and vegetation. And Uganda is home to several species whose global range is mostly confined to Uganda. We are known such as mountain gorillas. Yes, that is also what we are known for, the mountain gorillas right there in Bwini Penetrable Forest. Yeah. Then we have the Ugandan mangabe. Then we have Nahen's francolin. So that is one of the species that people come out to look out for, the rare species. And of course, when we talk about the mountain gorillas, we also have our very own competitor, Rwanda, our very own neighbor, which has made it a point to make sure that they actually promote their wildlife in one way or the other. Well, of course, Uganda, several wetland areas also protected under the Uganda law are managed by wetland divisions of the Ministry of Environment. Yes, and of course, with low population sizes or declining in number. Now, in order to do this, we have to address challenges that include poaching of wildlife. Like I said, poaching are mostly people do poach elephants. They take their horns, and their horns you can make very many items out of it. The ivory, you can make earrings, you can make a lot of things. So some of them have poached animals, because some animals actually have money. Once you poach an animal, you sell to someone, you get a little bit of money. So we are losing out in numbers in the animals that we have due to poaching, and then there are laws that have been set in place. Once you're culpable, you're going to face the consequences. Habitat loss of agriculture, yes, competing land uses, and of course a recent oil development in the country. That's one of the issues that we are facing as a country when it comes to wildlife conservation, looking at a loss to agriculture. People are looking for extensive land to grow to do agriculture. So some of them find themselves encroaching on the land where these animals are supposed to be really free. And of course, we've seen when you go to Bwini Independent Road, there's a road where some also natives, some locals do pass in, and of course they do their hunting in there. I don't know what they hunt in there. Of course, they're doing businesses. There's a lot. So you find the species are endangered, and of course these are animals that some are quite emotional. When they're in contact with noise or humans, they become a bit violent. So for you to avoid such inconveniences and losses, and some of them love food, you find yourself being troubled. So let's give the animals the kind of environment they need, and as well ourselves. Well, of course, land has been an issue, great issue when it comes to Uganda. Everyone is fighting to have a piece of land. Some of them have found themselves on the bordering these kind of animals. Now, the Wildlife Conservation Society has been supporting conservation in Uganda since 1957. And they have supported conservation projects almost every year since this time. Well, most of the support has been to Uganda, to the scientists who do conservation research, and they supported also the Kibale Forest for many years during the insecurities of the 1970s and 1980s. So they also funded the Bwini Penetrable Forest, which led to their creation of both areas as national parks, and in the early 1990s. Well, now when it comes to conservation, the focus is on a Great Virunga landscape. We have Murchison Falls, Osemiriki landscape, and Kidepo landscape. So Yeah, so they're also focusing on several large mammal and bird species because these species are threatened with low population sizes or declining in numbers. So, like I said, some animals are really being extinct due to negligence, or probably due to the fact that they're not taking keen interest in the large their kind of population that they face to. Now, of course, when it comes to the Wildlife Authority, Uganda, which is responsible for wildlife here in Uganda, we see that they have done tremendously when it comes to promoting and protecting the wildlife in Uganda. So there are very many agencies that we have in Uganda, of course, supervised under the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. And of course, like I'd say there's the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Yeah, and of course, it is responsible for conserving the wildlife. And of course, the government of Uganda established the Uganda Wildlife Authority and the Uganda Wildlife Act. And of course, they're to manage wildlife in protected areas, including national parks, wildlife reserves, community wildlife management areas, and of course, wildlife sanctuaries, among other areas. Yeah, following the strict conservation procedures that are limited. So, whoever is actually caught poaching or in possession of anything related in harm of wildlife, they also have to face repercussions, because this is something that is earning us foreign investment through tourism. These are some of the things that we take pride as, away from the physical features that we have, the mountains, the lakes and the likes. Animals also have a contributing factor mostly when it comes to tourism, because I believe we have a number of species. We have actually one of the countries that have very huge numbers of species when it comes to birds. We've seen people going to some for bird watching. So just imagine the kind of revenue that we get at the end of the day just due to that. And of course, we have to put in place that we create environment for this wildlife, not to for the environment, for those that are hoping to have their factories or manufacturing plants in there. We have to give them the kind of environment that they need. Of course, because we have seasons that are quite funny. You'll find some seasons are a bit dry, and of course, they're also competing for food, just like we are always competing for food. So definitely there's a lot of work that has to be done around there. Well, of course, 40 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, this is the time we'll get to see what is happening into the press. And of course, as our conversations continue on wildlife conservation and what we can do as a nation, as individuals, to make sure that we protect the animals, the fauna and flora that we have in our country, Uganda, to boost tourism. Yeah. Well, let's get to see what is happening into the press. Well, of course, here, Buganda officials probed over murderer, and of course, police linked 6 leaders to killing the clan head. Well, I had a feeling that could come up at some point or the other. And who is really responsible for the murder of the clan head of Endiga clan here in Buganda Kingdom? Well, of course, as we see why government salaries will delay this time round. Well, those that are into those civil servants may have a delay when it comes to salaries. Well, Well, and of course, when it comes to education, government drafts new school fees law. And of course, this is due to the complaints that parents have been giving for the past weeks over the hike of school fees. Does it have to be every beginning of year there is an additional amount? What is happening? Is there a law? And well, this has been provided for you right there. No more. And of course, we see government agency mergers. Government withdraws 8 bills regarding this matter. And of course, storm leaves residents homeless. Yeah, that is in Wakiso district.
Now, as we take a look at what's happening in the Daily Monitor, seeing inside the Ruto and Raila is meet up with Museveni, and of course, for the way all across there with the current president of Kenya and the former opposition actually, he was contesting for presidency. That's Raila Odinga in that line. Now, seeing deep in crime. Is the CID shakeup paying off? And of course, where exactly we're stationed at before we proceed with this with the update. Okay, it's the traffic moment. Yes, this is the Wandager side, and that is the Makere Road. You can actually see it's quite a heavy congestion. Oh my goodness, that's all the way from the main gate coming down to the main traffic lights in Wandager. It's all really in some kind of a congested maze there. So if you're coming in from those areas, Apollo Road side, you're coming in from Kasumi, you're coming in from Nakulabiye, all those sides, and proceeding to town, most especially to the city center route. That is a Kampala road. Well, it will take quite a lot of patience for you according to this, to my observation now, it's equivalent to about 20 minutes of delay as you're in there waiting, being patient to go there. So quite a number of borders in my observation, and many more public and private vehicles around this particular area. And remember, it's a Wednesday morning, definitely. This is one, and the fact that it was actually threatening to rain in the morning hours, still actually when you checked in out with a meteorological kind of forecasts for the day, anticipations of rains, most especially to the places around Kampala and a little bit Kampala still. So, and the fact that the climate was also in that kind of a position, in that kind of a mood of likely to fall, well, that can also give us a hint on what it is like, why it is standing really that way. As same applies, I can see vehicles that are coming in from the Mulago Road still are lined up there, before they can proceed to the different centers. Okay, now these vehicles, the vehicles at the Makere Road just been held to give space to those that are coming in from the Bombo Road and proceed to other destinations. So take a look at in there. That's one of the routes that is inflated with traffic lights, so you have to really be quite patient, because you from the Sao Paulo route you will have to be held a bit coming in down to the Makere main gate as till down here towards that is at the main traffic lights, and still below that is above as you still connect, that is from Mango side almost, there is still another junction. That is with the Bakuli route, the road that heads to Bakuli before you proceed to Makere, to the Makere Road. So all that way, that explains the congestion. And absolutely, the traffic officers are in absolute control of the vehicles leaving the different destinations, heading to other destinations. So that can clearly give us a picture of what the situation will likely turn out in the few minutes from now. But definitely, as the time proceeds all along, it's just likely to get much more busier and busier. So if you could set off just right about now, that would be the right time for you. Just like unlike when you keep it a little much more longer before you leave home to go and execute the different errands that you ought to execute. Now, take a look at the vehicles that are coming in from the Bombo Road, vis-a-vis those coming in from the Mulago route, which connects straight to Kamocha. But you can see people from Matuga, Maganjo along the Bombo Road. Majority of these vehicles are actually public, and a few trucks and some of the public vehicles definitely still linking up to this route, heading to the city center. And according to my observation, when I take a look from the far end, it's still quite a huge line, a fleet, actually a huge fleet of them. Of course, and so this calls for about 10 minutes of patience when you are into this route, most especially if you're coming in, you're coming in from those areas I mentioned along the Bombo Road, and you're almost getting close to the main traffic lights at Wandager. You have to be really, really, really very patient. And now, lastly, Taking a look at the commercial route, that is vehicles coming in, rotating from the Mulago roundabout side. Some are linking up to the Kobili side, close to Prophet Kakande's church, and that is normally a congested area. And the roundabout must be really too much, because later on you link up to the Yusuf Lule Road, so you can see some heavy congestion. Generally, this Wednesday morning has been a bit a congested one for the Ginger Road, for the Wandagea traffic lights, rather. Those in Wandagea coming into town, same applying to those, except for those that are coming from the city center and you're probably heading to Wandagea, you are the safest. But leaving Wandagea, heading to other destinations, all people staying in Mulago, Kamocha side, Ntinda, Bukoto, Kira, who use the Kira Road, and they're coming to the city center. It's quite a huge one for you today, this particular morning. And that brings us to the end of the traffic update this morning. Very congested, actually, for any person. We are counting about 20 minutes, minimum of about 15 minutes of patience as you're held in there. Well, Smart Means Business takes a short break, and we'll return with the Caribbean South Africa and the international update shortly after this break. Stick around.